Bethany Collette had a plan. She was going to leave Indianapolis, start over in Chicago, and escape the suffocating grip of a life she could no longer bear. But her courageous decision to reclaim her freedom ended in unthinkable tragedy, as her attempt to break free marked the final chapter in a life filled with untold pain and quiet resilience.
In my head and in my heart, I wanted to believe it was somebody playing a sick joke, but unfortunately, it wasn't.
As officers entered that particular residence, they did locate the alleged suspect and a victim, both who sustained injuries consistent with a gunshot wound. That suspect, we believe, sustained injuries from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Both of them was transported in critical condition. Unfortunately, shortly thereafter arrival, the adult female was pronounced deceased there by medical personnel.
On a cold January evening in 2025, the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department received a call that would leave even the most seasoned officers shaken. It was a domestic disturbance at a quiet apartment complex near Shadeland Avenue and Fall Creek Road. What seemed like another routine call quickly escalated into a tragic confrontation that would cost 33-year-old Bethany Collette her life. Inside the apartment, Bethany was trapped with a man who had once been a significant part of her life but had become her worst nightmare. Another woman, caught in the chaos, managed to escape and alert authorities.
She did send me a couple pictures of an injury she had on her hand that looked fairly recent because the fact of it, you could still see the blood stain around on the skin tissue, and it looked like a deep laceration on her hand. But when I asked her about it, she told me that's the reason why I need to get out of here.
For hours, negotiations ensued as officers tried to defuse the situation. But when they finally breached the barricaded door, they found Bethany lifeless, her body riddled with gunshot wounds. The suspect, critically injured from what appeared to be a self-inflicted wound, was rushed to the hospital under police custody.
That male refused to come outside or follow those officers' commands. Our SWAT team, or our Special Weapons and Tactics team, they arrived, as well as our negotiators. They negotiated for several hours with this individual. Unfortunately, he did not surrender to those officers. One of those females inside of that apartment was released unharmed.
Please subscribe to our channel and make comments about what you think of our videos. Bethany's death sent shockwaves through her community, but for those who knew her best, it was the heartbreaking culmination of a life marked by quiet suffering and unspoken fear. Her ex-husband, Randy Collette, described Bethany as a fiercely independent and loving woman who had dreams of building a better future for herself. In recent weeks, she had confided in him about her plans to leave Indianapolis and return to Chicago, where she believed she could finally find peace. She wanted to come home, Randy shared in a tearful interview. She was done with the pain. She sent me pictures of her hand. It was swollen, bruised. She didn't say much, but I knew what it meant. She was scared, but she wanted out. Bethany's fear was not unfounded. Experts often warn that the most dangerous time for victims of domestic violence is when they attempt to leave their abusers. According to Karen Burton of the Indiana Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 75% of intimate partner homicides occur during or shortly after a survivor tries to leave. For Bethany, this grim statistic became a devastating reality. Bethany's story is not just one of tragedy, but also of resilience. Friends and family recall her as a woman of immense strength who never let her struggles define her outward demeanor. She was known for her love of painting and her dream of one day opening her own art gallery. Her passion for life was palpable, even in the midst of her darkest moments. She always smiled, even when you could see she was hurting, said a close friend. She had this way of making you believe everything was okay, even when it wasn't. I just wish she had told me more about what was going on. Please subscribe to our channel and make comments about what you think of our videos. The details of Bethany's relationship with her alleged killer remain murky, but those closest to her believe she endured years of emotional and physical abuse. Randy hinted at this during his interview, saying she never wanted to talk about it. I think she felt ashamed, or maybe even scared that no one would believe her. But she didn't deserve this. No one does. Bethany's death is a harrowing reminder of a growing crisis. In 2024 alone, Indianapolis saw a sharp increase in domestic violence-related deaths, Law enforcement and advocacy groups have raised concerns about the lack of resources for victims attempting to escape abusive relationships. Shelters are often at capacity, legal protections can take time to enforce, and many survivors feel isolated and unsupported. Bethany's tragic end has reignited calls for change. "We can't keep losing people like this," said Burton. "The system failed Bethany, as it fails so many others. We need to do better for her family, and for every other victim who feels like there's no way out." As Bethany's family and friends gather to mourn her loss, they are determined to ensure her story is not forgotten. Randy has vowed to advocate for greater awareness around domestic violence, hoping to honor Bethany's memory by helping others in similar situations. "She was so much more than what happened to her," Randy said. "She was a daughter, a friend, a dreamer. And she deserved so much better than this." Bethany Collette's life may have been cut short, but her story serves as a powerful testament to the courage it takes to seek freedom and the urgent need for systemic change. Her name now stands as a rallying cry for those who believe in a future where no one has to face their darkest moments alone. As the investigation into her death continues, her loved ones hold onto the memory of the bright, loving woman she was, vowing to ensure her legacy becomes a beacon of hope for others navigating the perilous road she faced. Please subscribe to our channel and make comments about what you think of our videos.